The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. A wild one, as always, against the Pacers. Pascal Siakam, the All-Star, had 30. Final stages of regulation. Landry Shamet a miss. Cat is fouled, down 2. Goes to the foul line, hits both free throws to force overtime at 124. Pacers end up winning in overtime. Quentin Jackson at 19. Indiana beating the Knicks in overtime tonight. Final score, 137 to 134. Great to have you with us, Bill Pidto, along with Wally Szczerbiak. I don't think we thought this was going to be the outcome, but that, as an old colleague of mine used to say, that's why they play the games. You just never know. That's a season-high total for the Pacers. They only average 110 points per game, near the bottom in offense. Of course, you had an extra overtime session, but points allowed for the Knicks has not been a problem during this excellent play. It was tonight for sure.
Rivalry game. The history of this matchup goes deep. You know, the last couple of years, you look back in history, strange things always happen. This Pacer team came in here on a mission. They want to send a message that despite the fact that they're having an awful year, that they can still compete with the Knicks, whoever they throw out there. And that was a really valiant effort. And the Knicks let them get going in the first half. They made 11 threes in that first half. And when it became a one-possession type game, you know this Pacer team, they don't have any fear, especially in this building and against the Knicks. They've had a lot of success here. Took care of business and got a big time to win that really hurts the Knicks in the standings.
Pacers scored at least 30 points in each of the 4 quarters. Let's take everyone through the last quarter in overtime. It was 1-point game going into the 4th quarter, and it was back and forth. Jose Alvarado making his MSG debut as a Knick made a nice bucket there.
Yeah, tied the game at 110, and then it was back and forth. And you would think Jalen Brunson would take care of business in this game. But the Pacers just continued to score. That bucket cut it to 1. Nesmith drives to the basket. The Knicks defense was not good. They struggled to keep guys in front of them. That made it a 3-point lead. And the Knicks really, without OG Anunoby, they didn't have a matchup to guard Pascal Siakam. So at the end of the games, he can go off and make things happen. That was a huge N1 that cut the lead to 1. So here goes Siakam shooting over a smaller Josh Hart. He can get a mid-range shot whenever he wants, pushes that lead to 3. Now, 2-point game, chance to win it for Shamet, misses, but in comes Karl Anthony Towns. He gets fouled with 0.2 left on the clock. 2 massive free throws. Just clutch gene personified to step up there and make those 2 and drain them, get the game to overtime when the Knicks, quite honestly, didn't have any business getting this game to overtime. It's almost like they exhaled. The Pacers scored the first 7 points of overtime. Siakam continued to attack, get whatever he wanted. At one point, they built themselves a 9-point lead. They were getting stops. Quentin Jackson was knocking down threes. This team just played outstanding basketball. That was a huge shot right there that pushed the lead to 7 at that point. The lead got up to 9, but the Knicks did not quit. I give them a lot of credit. Jalen Brunson right here with this massive 3. Cuts the lead to 3, and then after a couple missed free throws, down 3, Shamet has to make the first one. At least if you make the first, you give yourself a chance. He missed the first. He tried to miss the second automatically on purpose, and the Knicks end up losing by 3. Just a heartbreaking loss for the Knicks in a game that I know they thought they were going to win.
All right, Pacers tie a season high for them with 18 threes made, and go to the bottom. Key stat, bench points. Indiana 43, the Knicks 18. Domination off the Indiana bench. You always make the point. You look at the Indiana players here, a lot of familiar names are out or not playing. You got guys like Quentin Jackson and Micah Potter and Kobe Brown and who? The point is they're playing for their NBA lives, and sometimes that weighs into an outcome like this.
But the bigger point is they have Pascal Siakam, Aaron Nesmith, and Andrew Nembhard. So they have 3 starters. So anytime you have 3 starters that have been there, they know how to close and they know how to win NBA basketball games. And you get a couple valiant efforts from some of those role players, like you mentioned, that are playing for their NBA careers. And that's how you put together a big-time win against one of the best teams in the East. The bench, you said it. Ben Shepherd, you know he's going to come in and play. He had 10 points on 4 for 5 shooting. He's been playing against the Knicks for the last couple years. TJ McConnell, an absolute Knick killer. Always has unbelievable games against 13 points, 6 for 9 shooting. So those type of efforts, those guys have played against the Knicks for a lot of years and had success against them. So you can't sleep on these Pacers. The Knicks slept a little bit on these Pacers, and they got bitten.
The Knicks compromised depth-wise. You had Mitchell Robinson sitting out the first of the back-to-back.
You noticed that big time,
And OG Anunoby missing his third.
And Deuce.
And Deuce McBride, right.
Huge. That's three guys. I mean, no excuses, obviously. Halliburton's out, and a bunch of guys are out for Obi Toppin for the Pacers. But at the same time, you see how important it is to have those three guys in the lineup because that production was missed tonight.
We talked about the Pacers' three-point shooting. 7 made threes in the first quarter, 11 made threes in the first half. Thrilling moment presented by FanDuel Casino. Get your thrill on, and worth repeating. The Pacers tie a season-high, Wally, for the game by making 18 threes.
Yep, 11 in that first half. They were generating really good looks. I thought they missed some open ones, too, in the fourth quarter. Potter had a couple corner open threes that he didn't hit, and he's very capable to knock those down. Nesmith, always a Nick killer. You know, at the end of the playoff game last year, he went on his own personal 12-0 run, making 4 threes in a row. And Andrew Nembhard, that guy is pretty clutch. He's great defensively in the fourth quarter, causes a lot of problems to a lot of the Knicks players with his physical defense, and he's not afraid of the moment. And those guys know how to make big shots at big moments, and they came through big in clutch time.
Amazing in terms of the fact that neither team had a double-digit lead the entire game, and there were 39 lead changes. That's the most in any single NBA game this year. 39 lead changes. How about that?
Leave it for Knicks Pacers. You know, this rivalry runs deep. These teams go at it for year after year. And that was a very, you know, you don't want to say good basketball game if you're a Knicks fan, but that was back and forth. That was exciting. The fact that Towns made those 2 free throws, I thought the Knicks had it. Once they got that game into overtime, I thought the Knicks were going to take care of business, especially on their own floor. But it just goes to show you, you want to win games in this league, you better play at a high level, you better execute. If you don't, anyone can beat you.
All right, Monica McNutt, as always, helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. She now joins us. Monica, what do you think tonight?
Wally, you were more optimistic than me because coming out of the fourth quarter, I was like, legs are heavy. I don't know if there's enough juice left in the tank to get it done in overtime. I loved the play that got us to overtime here in the Garden because I thought everything was going downhill. You obviously don't have a choice there, but it was a great heads-up play by Karl-Anthony Towns to go after that offensive board. Listen, I was coming down the stairs from our lovely radio porch, and I was just listening to some fans, you guys. And, of course, these fans are talking about how they engage with the game. But they said, I mean, the bottom line for them, in their eyes, and I think this is fair to say, is like, let's face it, the Pacers had that one circled on their schedule, and the Knicks are maybe riding a little bit high coming off of just beating Boston, right? I thought that was a fair observation by the fans. I think in a year where you would look at the schedule and look at what the Knicks have done in their last 10 games and be like, ain't no way they about to drop one to a team that's only won 13 games, then you'd have to dig a little deeper into the next layer and be reminded of the rivalry that exists between these two teams. So I would give the Pacers their credit. They came out tonight with more focus, more energy, and more effort.
Yeah, it was their Super Bowl. It really was. And Super Bowl 2 days ago didn't really live up to the hype. This one sure did for the Pacers and the Pacer fans. They were outstanding. They came out here, they played, and I just it's unbelievable the system that they have. Yeah. Anyone who steps into it, they play so free. You know, the fact that the way this team only has 13 wins on the season, like, that's mind-boggling to me. Like, what are they doing when they're not playing the Knicks? They almost beat the Knicks right after the NBA Cup in Indiana. Jalen Brunson had to make a heroic shot to pull off that win. So this team seems to get up for the Knicks. I agree, Monica, and that was a heartbreaking loss for the Knicks.
Jalen Brunson, Monica, had 40 tonight. Down the stretch in regulation, had a number of opportunities. Was unable to convert, did hit the big 3 there in the overtime to make things even closer, but Brunson ended up with 40 points tonight. Yeah,
I think it would not be his favorite 40-point performance, particularly in the fourth quarter, right? Coming off of a 31-point performance on Sunday in Boston, in which he had 10 points in that fourth quarter. I think he would swap those 20 points if he could have come up in the fourth quarter and in the overtime period for sure. But continuing to do what we knew would be available in this iteration of the Indiana Pacers, and that is scoring in the paint, right? The Knicks at one point had 56 points in the paint. I'm looking now. They finished with 60 points in the paint, including that overtime period. So Jalen Brunson got to the paint, even though tonight his 3-ball was struggling a bit. But I will add, though, too, to our previous conversation, guys, this Pacers squad does have a win over the Oklahoma City Thunder with SGA on the floor.
You also had Josh Hart tonight. Monica, how about his night? Second triple-double of the season. He did a little bit of everything, as always.
Yeah, and he was all over the place. I looked up, and he had 8 assists in the second quarter. It was like, whoa! A lot of those early in this ball game seemed like they were going toward Mikal Bridges, who I thought did a great job of running the floor, did a really good job of cutting without the basketball and getting to his open spots. But really, guys, and I think this has been my thing over the course of this 10-game stretch, now 11-game stretch, I still would take 9-2 over an 11-game stretch. But I think the thing that I've been watching closely is how the defense has improved and is growing. And I thought tonight was a good test to see where this defense is. And whether they just didn't have it, whether they're saving some for tomorrow, whatever you want to attribute it to, I don't think the defense showed up, and that's probably where you come up short if you're the Knicks.
All right, Monica, as always, we appreciate it. Have a nice trip down to Philly. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.
Sounds good.
Knicks now 34-20 on the season after losing tonight to the Pacers by 3 in overtime. We continue now from the corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. So it's the Knicks' last game before the All-Star break tomorrow night. They're on the road at Philadelphia. Pre-game at 7, game at 7:30. So far this year against the Sixers, the Knicks are 1-2. Let us now listen into some of Mike Brown's post-game comments. As always, presented by Chase.
You got to give Indiana credit. They came in and they shot the ball well from the three-point line to start. We didn't do a great job of getting to their airspace, especially in that first half. We did a little better job in the second half, but by then they were feeling pretty good about where they were in the game. So tonight, we passed, 12, 15 games. We've been pretty good getting the three-point shooters. We've been pretty good with our physicality on the ball. And a lot of other areas defensively. Tonight, it wasn't there. It wasn't there, at least at the level that it has been, along with our communication. You got to give Indiana a lot of credit because they play fast, not just in the full court. They play fast in the front court. And when they're going into ball screens, whether it's small, or big on small, they're sprinting, and they're creating a separation. And if you're a half a step behind, that's all they need to get you on their heels. So they did a great job offensively. We tried to tighten up as the game went along, which we did, but it just wasn't quite enough to get it done. We had plenty of opportunity down the stretch to get it done, but when you give a team life from the beginning like we did, it's going to be hard. Yeah, I thought Jalen down the stretch had some pretty good looks. He got to his spot, or he got to the spots that he normally gets to, and he just came up short. But we got the ball where we needed to get the ball, and we got the looks that we wanted to look for during that time. Sometimes they go, sometimes they just don't go in, and tonight was one of those nights. I saw the tail end of it on the Jumbotron, and our challenge guy, he's like, no, but it looked like he might have had his foot out, and the guy just tripped over his foot. So, that's a hard one to challenge because, it was inadvertent, but his foot looked like it was outside his shoulder when he tried to stop. The guy just got his feet tangled up. So it wasn't anything that we were going to try to fight.
That's just a tough way for it to go for Cat after you make those game-saving plays at the end of regulation, and just to kind of foul out on a tic-tac play like that.
Yeah, and that's throughout the course of the game, we hope that you don't pick up any cheap ones, so that if there is a game that goes into overtime or anything like that, we can afford to stay on the floor.
You mentioned the three-point defense before.
Yeah.
Was that an effort thing? Was that a schematic thing? What did you see that was lacking?
Yeah, I thought a couple of times we kind of closed to our guy and we stopped short, and we want to be physical when we close to the ball. we want our guys to feel us, and we call it the hot stove technique. Put your hands on them or whatever, because referees let that go quite a bit. And we'd stop short, kind of look at them, and there was a couple of times where guys just raised up and shot the basketball. And, they're all NBA players, and if anybody gets comfortable shooting the ball, especially at the beginning like they were, then it's going to carry over throughout the course of the game. So I thought we could have closed out a little bit better with our physicality. And then on the backside, a couple of times we didn't execute our rotations when it came to stopping the dribble penetration and then getting out the shooters. We didn't execute it the way that we should have.
So Indiana scored 137 points tonight, which is the most you've given all season. Do you think that it was just Indiana hitting their shots, or did you see a lack of urgency on defense tonight?
It was a combination of both. First of all, you got to give Indiana credit. They played hard. They played hard offensively. They played, they like to play fast, and so one of our big things was, hey, we got to make sure that we limit transition, and our guys did an okay job of that. They got free a couple of times in transition, but to have them score 9 points in transition, that's pretty good. In the front court, they played fast. They got in and out of their pick and rolls, and because they played fast, we weren't able to be as physical with them. And when they were going to set screens, and they're slipping out, so now it causes a little confusion, especially if you're not talking, especially if you're not doing your work early. And they have us on our heels because we're hesitating going with the shooter because we might stay with the ball a little too long, and those types of things. So we just have to get better with our physicality first, and our communication second. And if we do, now when we close out, again, we close out 2 bodies, and it's a physical closeout as opposed to closing out the airspace and letting them shoot.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Coach talking about the issues tonight on defense. Pacers with a season high, 137 points, and worth repeating, they made 18 threes to tie a season high for them.
51% from the field. The Knicks just couldn't contain them, and we've seen that against this Pacers team a lot. They play fast, no matter who it is. Every single screen, they run it with authority, they run it with speed, and they don't take any cuts off and any possessions off. And the Knicks struggled to slow them down, and once they got in a rhythm, no matter who was out there on the floor, they were getting decent looks at the basket. And if you give NBA players, no matter who it is, decent looks, they're going to knock them down, and that's what the Pacers did.
All right, tomorrow night the Knicks are at Philadelphia, second of a back-to-back in the last game before the All-Star break. Knicks losing tonight to the Pacers, 137-134 in overtime. Jalen Brunson scores 40 tonight in the Knicks OT loss to the Pacers. Here's Brunson after the game with our Alan Hahn.
A couple of really good looks down the stretch there. What happened there in crunch time?
Left a lot of shots short. Got the looks we wanted. Offensively wasn't the problem tonight. I think obviously defensively they had a rhythm early, and they kept their confidence, got the rhythm throughout the entire game.
What is it about the Pacers and the Knicks when they play each other? It just can't be a regular game. This felt like a playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what the record is, I mean, they're great. Great coach. They do everything well. They play hard. They play to the last second. So those qualities that they have, enable them to play every single night, regardless of what the record is.
No OG, no Mitch. Just where did you guys need to do defensively with them out that didn't happen?
Just be a little bit more physical. They were in the rhythm. Pick up our intensity on the ball with our physicality and stuff like that. And off ball, I just feel like they're moving really freely tonight. And then, like I said, they were in the rhythm all night.
All right, so again, no Mitchell Robinson. The expectation is he plays tomorrow on the second of the back-to-back. We don't know about OG Anunoby tomorrow night. Right. Obviously, you got Embiid, who's healthy. Mm-hmm. Philadelphia's got those talented guards and Edgecombe and Maxey, and Sixers have been pretty good.
They have been pretty good. You need, obviously, Mitch against Embiid. But Jalen summed it up. Offense wasn't the problem. The Knicks shot 50% from the field. They made 14 threes. They got to 134 points. Granted, it was in an overtime. It was their defense, and they've been able to rely on their defense in this 9-1 stretch that they've been on, and tonight their defense let them down. So they got to get back to playing defense, and it starts tomorrow with guarding Maxey and Edgecombe, because those guys are not easy to guard flying off those screens.
Now, not only are they quick, but they have tremendous range from downtown. Quinn Grimes, former Knicks, also has been playing well for the Sixers off the bench. That's tomorrow night. First things first, the Knicks lose tonight. Andrew Nembhard was excellent. Cat was good in defeat, but it's the Pacers who win it by 3 in overtime.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Welcome back. Jalen Brunson makes 4 threes, passing Julius Randle for 4th most threes made in Knicks history. Josh Hart, a triple-double, 2nd of the year, 17th as a Knick, 3rd most in Knicks history. And Jose Alvarado makes his MSG debut as a Knick, scores 4 points, shoots 1 of 5 from the floor in the Knicks 3-point loss. We'll wrap things up when we come back right after this. Wrapping up the Knicks postgame show tomorrow night, the last game before the All-Star break with the Knicks at Philly. Pre-game at 7, game at 7:30. You can also stream our coverage on the Gotham Sports App. Want more than just a postgame show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports App. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.